Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get some insight on how colleges recruit for volleyball. My guest today is Chris Feliciano. He's the head women's volleyball coach at Rider University, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So Chris, usually I start my guests where they went to college. So where did you go to school?
I graduated in 2003 from NJCU, New Jersey City University.
Oh, great. So now let's just go into high school a little bit. Did you play volleyball at the college level? Did you go in that direction?
Yeah, I did not play in high school. I played volleyball in college. Was a 4-year starter, 3-year captain, and then graduated and was promptly given control of the team.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So that gets you into coaching pretty quickly.
Yes, sir.
So so you had no aspirations in high school to do that at the college level. It just came about?
During my junior year in college, I found that I was able to connect with kids, and I switched I was a media arts major, telecommunications, broadcasting, and then I ended up switching to education. And then during the process of working in the education department, I ended up connecting with the old high school volleyball coach who asked me to be her JV coach at Union High School, and I was coaching JV volleyball while I was in college, and then coaching club volleyball for Atlantic Valley Volleyball Club, and just the rest is history. Just kept going, and I kept running with it.
Wow. So now you graduate from college, you get into coaching, you're the head coach there?
Yes.
How long did you stay there before you ended up at Rider University?
I coached both the men and women's program from 2004 to 2008.
Okay.
Give or take a year, I could be off. And then I went over and was a volunteer at Bloomfield College. And then I proceeded then to receive a job as the second assistant at Fordham University, which
Okay.
I was there for about 4 months for the season in 2010. And then Ryder put a posting up, and I was in New York, and I kind of wanted to come back home to New Jersey, and I applied for the job, and instantly I got a phone call for a phone interview, and it's been a real blessing to come back to New Jersey and to work for Ryder.
Great. So now how many years you been at Rider so far?
I'm going into my 6th season.
Wow, fantastic. So let's go into high school. How do you go about finding girls at the high school level for volleyball? Is it a hotbed in New Jersey? Is it a hotbed in Pennsylvania? You know, where do you start looking for these girls?
Well, one thing I always tell anyone that I work with or a friend of mine, you always have to keep your eyes open in all locations. We've had some really great volleyball talent come out of the state of New Jersey. We recently had the Rookie of the Year in the MAC come out of New Jersey, Haley Reedy. But we have our eyes open in all different locations. A lot of it now has been kids reaching out to us because we've gotten a lot better. We've been more competitive. We've had a stronger standing within the MAC conference. It's the grunt work, to be honest with you, going to the tournaments, being in the gym, first one in the gym, last one to leave. So you're talking about 8 a.m. to 9, 10 p.m.,
Wow.
grabbing a quick bite to eat, at a concession stand and just watching kids and seeing what fits, for your program, not only physically, but from a personality perspective. So when we're watching kids, we're not just watching kids in their physical abilities, we're watching kids how they interact with their parents, we're watching kids how they interact with their coaches, how they take winning and how they take losing.
So now, what's some of the requirements that high school kids should have if they want to play at the college level for volleyball?
Well, each level has a different GPA requirement. So that, obviously we want good students. They have to be what's called the qualifier. They have to meet the standard requirement by the NCAA clearinghouse. But for us at the Division I level, we're looking for specifics in terms of physicality. We're looking for athletic kids that jump a certain point, to match our offense where our setters are putting certain balls. We're looking kids that know how to balance a schedule. The reality of it is D1, while it's not a job, it's borderline a job sometimes. You have to go to class, you got to go to lifting, you have to go to practice, you have to go watch video, you have to meet with your coach about next week's game plan. It can become, very rigorous. So we want kids that know that are good at time management.
Great. So now, at the high school level, like grade-wise, what do you look for at a Division I level? Is it a B average, A average? What do these kids have to have?
Well, from my experience, when I coached men's volleyball at Jersey City, we've had some issues with some compliance issues where kids have not met the grade and they haven't been able to play. So I've always told myself that when we recruit, we're looking for kids with high GPAs. You know, our team last year, or this past semester, we had a 3.51 GPA. In the summertime, we received our second recognition from the NCAA for team excellence and team GPA. It's one of those things that I don't want to worry about, is a kid going to be eligible?
Yeah.
So when we look at kids, we are looking for kids, you know, in the high 3.5s, you know, and that point on, you know, a decent ACT, decent SAT score, and again, to make sure that we don't have those challenges moving forward with their eligibility.
So now, kids in high school, do you look at the high school schedules, or are these kids mostly ones that do the outside activities, the club teams, they got their personal trainers, that kind of stuff? Is it those type of kids that you're looking at, or is it everything?
We try not to go to high school matches because the reality of it is you have a mixture of kids that are at the high school levels. You have kids that, you know, are there for a social aspect, which is okay. But then you have other kids that are, you know, that want to be great. So we tend to go to more, you know, club tournaments where we can see multiple kids, you know, within different time periods. This upcoming weekend, I'm going to Las Vegas to one of the largest showcases in the country. And you're talking about within 5 hours, I'll have an opportunity to see 2,000 kids.
Wow.
And we'll find some kids there that will be interested moving forward.
Yeah, so now a tournament like that, how many of those type of tournaments are there throughout the year?
Wow.
Is there quite a
Like
lot?
almost one every weekend.
Really?
Yeah, you have the big qualifiers, you know, and you're talking about, you know, Washington D.C. qualifier. You're talking about an AAU qualifier in Florida. You're talking about, you know, there's another one this upcoming weekend in Nebraska. So there's something all the time, and then you have the individual tournaments, the local tournaments, you know, where it take place in their state, and there's some good volleyball there. You know, at some point I think we'll go out to SoCal just to go to a day tournament where we'll see probably 20 teams. And we'll take a pick.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so, does height play a big factor in recruiting for volleyball?
I was asked this question this morning, preparing to come here, and I'm going to say for us, yes. For our level and for what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish at Rider, it does. We have, I believe currently we've got 5 kids or 6 kids that are 6 foot or taller. We just received a commitment of a kid that's 6'2", and another one that's already signed with us, another 6'2" kid coming in. So we're looking for kids that jump high and jump high fast. You know, you can have a kid that's 5'9", 5'8", who's touching 10 feet, but it takes them longer to get off the ground compared to someone who's 6'2", touching the same height.
So I usually, when I watch these games on TV, you always see some smaller kids like our setters. Is that usually what happens? Is it the setter that's usually a little bit smaller than everybody else?
We have our setter in our gym right now, and the setters that we've had in the past have been smaller. Veronica Kovala is like to consider a hybrid. She's about 5'7", 5'8" on a good day. She'll joke around with you with that. But she gets off the ground really fast. She blocks really high. Our other, we call them the littles in our gym, our liberos, our DSs, Emma Odaya and McKenna Smith. They're the ones that make sure nothing hits the floor. And that's their personality. So it's interesting because you literally walk into our gym and you'll see doot, 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 and then all of a sudden, and they love it because they're just a great group. They work really well together. It's a nice balance.
That's fantastic. So now, a lot of parents out there always ask, you know, it's all about the sport, not about academics. What does Rider University do for those type of kids? Give me a breakdown of throughout the year. How much of it is, you know, when you start, when you finish, when's the season start, when's it end? Give me a breakdown of throughout the year what these kids are actually going through at the college level.
Well, first and foremost, in our gym, our priority is student. You know, our athletic director has the saying, we put the student in athlete, and I believe that 100%. The likelihood of kids playing professional sports coming out of Division I mid-major is minimal. There are kids that do it, and God bless them that they have these opportunities. But at Rider, we want to ensure that the students have the training and the knowledge necessary to become productive members within their career. For our scheduling, when we are in the season, we sit with our kids and we make sure that they're taking the classes that they need necessary to graduate on time. And so, quite frankly, we have kids graduating early, semester early, because we really pay attention to their scheduling. Kelly Beidel and Sonia Hurt do a phenomenal job in assisting us, making sure that their classes are where they need to be. And also the other individual counselors do a great job of ensuring that they have everything that they need for graduation. Yeah. You know, we're very structured. You know, that's what it comes down to. And I tell our kids that if there's something academically that you need to do, let us know ahead of time, and we'll work with you and we'll make sure that, you know, you go to that academic, you know, whatever, you know, event, I guess, to make sure you're okay with your grades.
So now, kids usually get to school what, August, September, somewhere around
We
there?
preseason usually starts August 6th, August 7th.
Okay.
So that is just all volleyball. There's no school involved, because we're there in the last month of the summer. First week we'll usually practice 3 times a day, which I know our kids, and if they watch this, they'll laugh, which I know they love. And then the second week we'll start toning down a little bit. We'll go 2 to 1 practices, and the last week before we have our first preseason tournament, we'll go to 1 practice, practice a day for the week.
Okay, and then when does the season start, in November?
No, season actually will start it's usually the last week in August. So we have 3 weeks, it's called our preseason tournament schedule. So we'll play 3 tournaments back to all in consecutive. And we'll be on the road Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the first 3 weeks, and then we'll start conference play as early as the second week in September.
And then when does the season end?
Usually a week before Thanksgiving.
Wow.
You know, we have a goal that we want our season to end after Thanksgiving, because if it's ending after Thanksgiving, that means that we've won a championship and we're preparing for the NCAA tournament.
Okay, so now it's Christmas time. What are the kids doing at that time of the year?
Studying for finals.
Studying for finals.
Yeah, right before. Once our season's over, we have them meet with our strength coach for the last week, do a little bit of work, do a few workouts here and there, but then they get their breakdown of their winter workout program. And the emphasis is let's make sure that our grades are where they belong, and they focus on school. And it can be very stressful at Rider, because Rider does have a rigorous curriculum. So they're focused on making sure that they do what they're supposed to do.
So now, once the break is over and they come back in January, are they doing volleyball again?
Mm-hmm. They come back to either the last week or second to last week of January. We started right away when they came back with just lifting and plyo training. This following week, which was last week, we did individual training where we meet with each kid 2 times a week for an hour apiece. And we just really work on mechanics. I like this period of time because it's a real large emphasis on player development. We have 10 kids in our gym right now, and this is the first time I've been here that we've had such a high quality of talent in our gym. So we're able to really hit home on a lot of miscues that we had during the season. While they're studying and I'm watching all the films, and I'm happy one moment, I'm cringing another, but we're doing a lot of detailed instruction to help them develop into better players.
So is there any kind of spring volleyball that they're doing?
Yeah, once we finish with the individual practices at the end of February, we'll go into team practices, which is usually 3 times a week. And then they'll lift 3 times a week, and they'll do plyos twice a week. And then we'll end with the spring tournament in mid-April, right before finals get ready to start. And then once they're done with that, we'll have exit interviews. And we'll say, hey, this is what you did great, this is what you didn't do so great, but this is what we're going to do to make this whole thing better.
And then in the summertime, do they go and play on summer teams?
They're allowed to, but our kids are really focused, and it was really nice because last summer we saw it when they came in. They're really focused on their individuality in terms of their physicalness and staying healthy, eating right, training when they can. But more importantly, enjoying the summer too. Because the reality of it is at the D1 level, like I mentioned earlier, it's a lot. It's a fun-filled day of different activities that you got going on during the season. Everyone needs a break every once in a while, and we want to make sure that they view playing at Rider not as a job, but something that they're passionate, what they love to do. Yeah. And it seemed to work over the past couple of years. And
so now the recruiting process. Have you just finished your recruiting class for this year? Is that how it works? Does it happen right after the season, and you're finding all these kids and signing them up?
Well, we had a change in our approach this year. We brought in 7 kids last year. and unfortunately we lost a couple, you know, for personal reasons. So we were done. We were finished, and we were already focusing on 2017, which we're actually, you know, we're close with some kids, but after seeing how our season unfolded last year with lack of depth, we had a whole bunch of kids hurt. Kids that were playing were hurt, and they had to play. We couldn't rest them. So we're looking for some bodies, and we've got some leads. We've already had some kids on campus as early as the first week back from school.
Wow.
Got a phone call yesterday that we've got one more in the barn. So you know, we'll be done probably in the next couple of weeks, and we'll continue with 2017's class.
And you're combing the country, the world. How's it really working?
I'm all over the country. I was supposed to go to Brazil this year, but right before I got ready to book my ticket and everything, the kid that I was going to go look at committed to another school. So I was excited to go to Brazil because I've never been there, and I have a lot of good friends that I work with and coach with that coach professional teams over there that put me, you know, made me aware of this student athlete. But didn't work out. But we'll see what happens next year.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So now, are you constantly on the road looking for kids? Is that how it all starts, or do you have assistants that are out there that they look for the kids and then bring you some kids? Is high school coaches, are they calling you up, or is it a little bit of everything?
I got a little bit of everything, but in our gym, I take that away from the assistants. When I was at Fordham, the head coach there, you know, was, you know, he shared the love, I guess, and he wanted us to do a lot of the legwork and show him things, and I think the complete opposite. The reality is that the decision is going to stop with me, so why let it go through so many channels only to get to me for me to say no? I don't want any unnecessary work being done. My days are interesting because I have an iPad that I always keep with me. I'm constantly watching film. I'm constantly looking up new kids, new recruits, reading emails, making phone calls. So it's the reason why we've been so quick to get better is because our recruiting is I'm not joking, 24/7.
Yeah.
We're always looking for kids. Like, I'll literally leave here and probably have an email that I'll check out and look at a video later on tonight.
So you brought up an interesting thing that a lot of parents talk about is film. They have to do film for these coaches. Some people take the approach, give a whole game. Some people take the approach, give just highlights of certain things. What's the approach that college coaches usually look for?
Well, I want two films. First I want a highlight video, and then I want a full game film, unedited, untouched, basically from beginning to end. I'll let everyone in on a little secret, and no coach will openly admit this, but it's true. We'll know if we are interested in you within the first 15 seconds of your highlight film. And if we are, then we'll start processing the information. We'll look at the game film. So my best advice to anyone that sees this, or any high school kid or parent that sees this as trying to get their daughter or son recruited, make sure you send a highlight video that looks good. Don't have mistakes in the first 10 seconds. Have them doing something great to keep the attention of the coach, and make sure you send a full game film.
And just to give them a sense of what you're going through. How many videos are actually coming in? Are you getting hundreds, thousands?
Checking my email last week, I had about 150 different emails. Not all of them had video, but there were, you know, you're talking about class of 2018 sending me stuff at this point. You know, last week I got something from 2020, and I was just like, okay, this is a little early, but we'll file this somewhere. So I literally probably watch about 50 films a week.
Wow.
So that's why it's first 10 seconds, next, and I hate to say it that way, but it's the way we operate.
Yeah. So now, give us a little sense of what the team is like. I know that the team is getting better. What's the team like right now?
They're a joyous group. Like, that's the best way to describe them. They're really close. They care about each other. It's a real feel of sisterhood, I guess, family. They can be a little overwhelming at times when they're together, but it's in a good way. Yeah. You can't, for the amount of time you're with them, you're gonna laugh a lot. That's the best way to describe it. You're gonna laugh a lot. We had a visit last week, and I just moved my office into the gym, so I brought them all in so they could see the office. And within 30 seconds, I've got a group laying on the ground taking pictures and laughing. I've got another group in a corner imitating somebody. And then I've got another group on my whiteboard drawing pictures and laughing. And I became overwhelmed and said, all right, guys, get out. This is too much for me. But what's great about it is they do that outside of the gym, but when they're in the gym, they work really hard. And they're really, really focused on reaching our ultimate goal, which is really nice. And it's a hard balance, because normally you have a team that's always serious, or you have a team that's always fun, you know? So it's a really nice balance with this group.
So now, give a sense to the parents that are out there. When do you start trying to find schools at the college level for volleyball? Is it freshman year of high school? Is it senior year of high school? When should they start pursuing all of this?
Well, I think each level is a little different, and coaching at every level. The D3 level, you know, those kids are looking at schools probably their senior year. The D2 level, their senior year, end of junior year. The bigger D1s, you know, they're trying to get kids to commit as sophomores. So we're right in the range of end of sophomore year, beginning of junior year, with the ultimate commit, you know, signing the NLI in their senior year.
Yeah.
So it varies depending on the ability level.
Yeah, and so do you actively talk to a lot of the high school coaches that are out there? Do you know the hotbeds of schools that have pretty good volleyball teams and not?
I have very good connections outside of the state of New Jersey. I know a lot of high school coaches in New Jersey because I coach club with them. But I would say my connections are more out of the state right now.
Okay. So and club, give a sense for these kids that are watching the show. What type of club teams could they look at? Are there different level club teams? Are they like a D level club team, an A level club team? How does it work?
Speaking politically correct, they'll have to find the club that best suits their ability. In New Jersey, we have some outstanding volleyball clubs. We also have some clubs that are there to get kids touches and to make them active. Anyone that has a volleyball club, I think, is doing a great thing, because the reality of it is that if the student athlete's in the gym, they're not doing something else. Yeah. You know, they're staying healthy, they're being active, they're participating in a sport hopefully that they love. But I think that it's like a cup of tea. Everyone's got to find which one they like, which tastes best for them. Yeah,
and also, how about travel teams? You see a lot of these club teams that are traveling all over the country. Is there a lot of those as well?
Yeah. Every club team, they usually have what's called a national or their ones team. And then they'll have a regional team, which is like their twos team, more of a developmental program. The national teams are the teams that travel all over the place, and the regional teams will do some traveling, depending on the club's protocol. But the ones team is more geared towards the high level training. You know, they've already mastered a lot of the skill sets at their age level, so now they're trying to push the envelope. Where the twos teams are still good athletes, you know, and you have a lot of really athletic kids in those groups that are still learning the game and still learning how to, you know, become better and be more consistent in what they're doing.
Yeah. So now on the kids themselves, I know assists, digs, kills, these are all the terms that the kids need at the volleyball level, right?
Yes.
Is there something more important than others, or they need a little bit of everything to do?
Well, one of my feelings about volleyball in America, and there are a lot of coaches share the sentiment, is that volleyball is too specialized with student athletes. But we recruit trying to find kids that are six rotation players, and we have a few of them in our gym, and some kids that we're looking at now are six rotation players. But you know, I think everything is significant. The most important skill set is first touch or passing. You know, if you can't pass the ball, you can have someone that's touching 12 feet, ready to receive, to take a good swing and try to score, and you can't get them the ball. Yeah, so passing is our bread and butter. We've gotten a lot better with our serve receive. I think we raised our serve receive percentage from last year from like a 1.9, and this year we averaged a 2.3. So it's on a 3-point scale. Yeah. So a 3 is the best, and then 0 is the worst. So we're leaning towards almost getting close to being perfect at our serve receive skills.
Yeah, it's fantastic. What's the time that what's the position that you've come in so far in the mid-major? Second place, third place, first place?
I believe the last 2 years we were in first place 13 or 14 out of 20 weeks. This year we were in first place all the way up until the second to last weekend of the season. We lost a critical match at home versus Fairfield that we played really well, and Fairfield played really well, and it was one of those, someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. Yeah. You know, so we're looking to get back to that. You know, main priority this spring is player development, keeping everyone healthy, and then when we get back in August, making sure everyone's healthy and is running on a full tank of gas.
Great. Well, we're coming to the end of our show. Usually I ask my guests, what advice do you want to give to the parents that are out there, their sons and daughters playing volleyball in high school, they want to go to college to play? What advice do you want to give them?
Let them be independent. That's my first thing I tell everybody. The reality of it is at some point you're going to send your child away to school and they're going to have to walk on their own 2 feet. Make sure that this is for them and make sure that they're looking at the appropriate level. Too many times we see kids in both directions. We see kids that overreach and are unhappy because they're not playing, and then a lot of times we see kids that don't really go to where they should, and they're the big fish in a small pond and they're never really challenged. Some kids like that, some kids don't, and you see kids transferring all the time because of it. So just make sure that where they're looking at is appropriate and it fits them, not only athletically but academically. The reality of it is volleyball is not going to last forever. We want to make sure that the student athlete has a degree and has a great college experience.
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.